Hello, how's everyone doing? And thank you for subscribing to my channel. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification button and share the video. So for the ones that are familiar with me and what I've been talking about on preferably TikTok and on Facebook, I had shared my journey with depression and anxiety, right? So I said I was going to continually come on and, share that information and give you guys some background history as to, how you can move forward if you were struggling with something very similar. So what I want to start by talking about right now, I want to give you guys like some background history with regards to mental health. And this quote is coming from Psychology Today. If anybody is familiar with Psychology Today, if not, just go on Google and Google Psychology Today. So this is being reported by Psychology Today. And what they're saying that there is a growing demand for mental health services, according to obviously Psychology Today. And they also say that they did a survey of recent psychologists. And this was also conducted by the American Psychology Association. And this was in fall of 2021. And they said that 10% of the people that responded reported an increase in the need for anxiety treatment since the beginning of the pandemic. And 12% reported an increase in demand for treatment of depression. So let's just describe and define what depression is. And I obviously have my own definition, but I wanted to give you guys the exact definition as it read in Google, because Google is my favorite. So depression is a common mental disorder, and globally it is estimated that 5% of adults suffer from the disorder. And it is also characterized by persistent sadness and a lack of interest or pleasure in previously rewarding activities or enjoyable activities. So I'm going to give you an example. If you were a very social person and you hung out a lot with family, friends, maybe coworkers, and you find yourself declining in that, you no longer want to, partake in those activities. Let's say you're a person that likes to go to the gym a lot and you're noticing that you're not wanting to do that a lot. You may want to look deeper to figure out what's going on. So let's talk about some stressful events that actually can cause depression. And this is just conducted by, research that I've done and also just from myself. Stressful events can include death, giving birth, broken relationships, conflict, gender, family history, genetics, alcohol, drugs, and even other serious illnesses. There's also something called social awkwardness. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but some people do suffer from that. I'm just giving you a list of some of the things that can be considered stressful events. As you are aware, we're very different individuals. We all encounter some of the same things, but then some of us have different circumstances. So a stressful event can be categorized as anything that is also stressful to that individual. So let's dig a little bit deeper. Depression is definitely linked to pain and trauma. Pain and trauma can manifest by way of depression. So a good question to ask yourself, what have you encountered that has left you depressed and or traumatized, or both? How can you overcome this to the best of your ability to be the best person that you can be? And also, how can you create a space where you can live and enjoy your life? First, you must understand the pain in most cases. You can deal with this by meditation. Oh, shucks, I'm about to knock this over. I don't know what I'm doing. You can deal with that. You can deal with the depression by way of meditation and also speaking with a licensed therapist. Meditation also works. Let's talk about what is trauma, because we all have trauma. We've all been through trauma. There is no one on the face of this earth that has not been through trauma, right? So I'm going to reference back to Psychology Today. I love Psychology Today. So Psychology Today's definition is this. It says that trauma is a person's emotional response to a distressing experience. And as I stated, very few people, if not none, go through life and do not encounter any kind of trauma. Everyone has some kind of trauma. Unlike ordinary hardships, traumatic events tend to be sudden and very unpredictable. And they can involve a serious threat to life, including bodily injury or death. And it can feel beyond a person's control. Most important events are traumatic to the degree that they undermine a person's sense of safety in the world and create a sense that tragedy can strike at any time. So let's just unpack that just a little bit. So when you're experiencing trauma, you feel that there is no out, it's very sudden, and it's very unpredictable. So let me break it down a little bit further for you. I mentioned stressful events, right? But let's break the list down a little bit further. Stressful events can also include being a single parent, i.e., relationship breakdown with the other parent. Not being able to provide financially for your family, i.e., conflict. Giving birth, i.e., you may be experiencing postpartum depression. All these can cause pain in the body. Let's dig a little deeper. Some trauma is stored feelings instead of memories, which means it manifests itself subconsciously. It is very random and can come out of nowhere. But all of a sudden, this pain can manifest itself super randomly because trauma is stored as feelings and not memories. And it can come up sporadic and out of nowhere. In this instance, your mood will go from a happy mood to a very sad, angry, or maybe even an agitated mood in a matter of seconds. So if you are seeing that characteristic, I can't talk today, you need to maybe dig deeper. Let me just give you some examples of trauma. And I know we've all, I'm sure I know I have. I got a whooping before. So let me give you one example. Example number one. Let's say you used to get whoopings as a kid, or when you lived at home, you used to get a whooping. You got married, your husband, you notice, he's undressing, and then you see him taking off his belt, and then all of a sudden your mood changes, and now you're acting erratic because you recall those whoopings just from your husband taking off his belt. So now you have ignited some trauma in you because now you're referencing what had happened to you in the past because you saw a belt coming out of a pant loop. So let me give you an example too. Let's say you had a poor relationship with your mother as a teenager, and therefore you took that relationship into your adulthood. And then once you became a parent and you started to parent teenagers, you kept encountering roadblocks because you were not parenting effectively because your mom never communicated with you, and the relationship you had with your mother could have been at a very somewhat toxic nature. And therefore, when you were, trying to communicate with your children, you were not being effective because you never learned how to effectively communicate. Let me give you another example. Let's say you were in a relationship with somebody that was a narcissist, or they lied all the time. It could be a male or a female. And this person lied. You didn't even know when they was telling the truth. They was just the liar, right? So now you meet somebody who is a perfect gentleman or a perfect female. You're in a relationship with this person. And now whenever they tell you something, or maybe they say they're working late and it's something that they're doing all the time, but now you're starting to think, is this person lying? And you start to drive up to their job to see if they're actually at work, because all you can remember is you were in a relationship with a liar. That is all trauma. That's trauma. So let's talk about pain, because all of these things work together. Pain, trauma, it all works together. When we look at the word pain, right? And I was like, what are some synonyms of pain? I can't talk today. Some of the synonyms for pain would be suffering, agony, affliction, torture, torment, discomfort, trouble, struggle, strain, throbbing. All of those are synonyms of pain, which means it means about the same thing. Those words with pain they mean the same. And if we were to look up the definition of pain, I'm going to give you 3. The definition of pain is physical suffering or discomfort caused by illness or injury. And when we talk about illness, it can definitely be a mental illness. Definition 2, a feeling that you have in part of your body when you are hurt or sick. And then definition 3, a feeling of being very upset or unhappy. Again, those are the definitions of pain. When I looked at the Bible, it said that the word pain was used in the Bible 200 times. 200 times. One, for instance, would be in Romans 5, chapter 5, verse 3 and 5. And I'm not going to read the entire verse, but it talked about something to this effect. Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, character, and hope. And when I read that, what I said, because nobody wants to feel pain, right? Nope, nobody wants to go through it, but it's definitely a part of life. And pain is necessary because it will teach you to renew your mind. Let me say that again. Pain is necessary because it's going to teach you how to renew your mind. And I'm going to say it again. Pain is necessary. It will teach you how to renew your mind. Nobody wants to go through it. I don't want to go through it either. I don't think anybody is going to volunteer to go through pain, but it's definitely necessary. According to Psychology Today, article titled "The Pain of Trauma," and this was posted February 28, 2019. And what it states is, what can a trauma survivor do when past trauma resurfaces and nothing works to make it better? Psychology Today recommends a comprehensive therapy routine that addresses all aspects of wellness, cognitive, emotional, physical, spiritual, and social. And let me put this out there. I am not a licensed therapist. The information that you are being provided by me is is information that I have researched because I am in therapy. I have a therapist. I did suffer from depression and anxiety to the point that I just didn't even know how to move forward. And I'm, a person that, have always been able to move forward. I've been through so much in my life and just never had gotten to the point where I was like, I don't even know what to do. And I can tell you right now with this therapist, I think I went through about 2 of them, because one thing about therapy, you have to find a therapist that's going to work for you. And you also have to find someone that is going to work great with your personality. And therapy is work. So you need a therapist that's actually going to give you the work and allow you to prosper. So right now I'm doing absolutely great. And with this new therapist, I think I'm about 4 months in. So the information that I am providing you is information that I do outside of my therapy sessions. My therapist gives me a lot of information, but I dig deeper because I just want to, be the best person that I can be. And I said, I'm going to never go back here again. And the only way that I can get better is to just learn all the information. And I can't learn that in a 1-hour session. So I always do my own research. So Psychology Today also talked about sources of pain. So let's start by reviewing common sources of ongoing pain for people. And some of those include the difficulty of letting go of how life was before trauma took place, or the way we remember them. A lot of times, when we experience trauma, we have a hard time letting go of what was before the trauma occurred. I'm guilty of that myself. The difficulty of living with ongoing trauma symptoms like hypersensitivity to stress, conflict, noise, or anything else that places high demands on the senses. These sensitivities create an ongoing sense that life is out of control and scary, and something bad is about to happen. Yeah, that is very true. So I can definitely relate to that. Another source of pain is chronic sadness about the loss of things as a consequence of the traumatizing experience. This can be the loss of people, prestigious belongings, body functions, a job or a career, a treasured phase of life. I mean, we've all lost a job. We've all lost, loved ones. We've definitely all had traumatizing experiences. So what I'm speaking of is sources of pain. Now, this is not all sources of pain. I'm just throwing some out there for you guys. So regardless of how much healing takes place, many trauma survivors experience losses that can never be replaced. Accepting this is an important step in the journey of integration. Until this acceptance takes place, we are likely to blame ourselves for not thriving, and even then self-blame often appears. So blaming yourself. So what this is basically stating is, regardless of how much healing takes place, there are things that's going to happen in your life that it's going to be irreplaceable. For instance, if someone passes away, let's say you lose a job and you find yourself going back to school, or you lose a job and you start a business. Now, we all know when you start the business, it's going to take a minute for you to, make money and, build profit. So some things are just going to be gone forever. So let's talk about pain diversion, the diversion of pain. So when pain feels like it is too much, or when it has taken root at a very young age due to early trauma, the temptations are very strong. to turn to creative outlets for pain. Some of these are in part constructive, others are obvious forms of self-harm. I'll give you an example. Scolding yourself for not being good enough. Let's not have those conversations with ourselves, where we fall on, self-pity, and we are basically scolding ourselves for not being good enough. And that's a whole nother video, because what we have to learn to do is rewire our thinking. And that's what I learned in therapy. Using numbing substances or diversionary activities to divert attention from pain. This may include overeating, drugs, alcohol, shopping, gambling, or maybe even sexual activity. So I'll give you an example. Some people are, I want to say, eaters. Like, they eat a lot. That was me. When you don't want to deal with certain things, you just find you something good to eat. Stop doing that. Some people turn to drugs and alcohol. Some people do gambling, sex, all types of things. And this is not an exclusive list. This is just some of what happens, and it's called diversions of pain. And pain diversions are common response after trauma. So it's very common, that people do these pain diversions. The presence is a key reason for the need for a comprehensive approach addressing all aspects of wellness necessary for the treatment of trauma. Remember, so we're going to get back to therapy. Gotta go to therapy. Another thing I want to talk about, in Psychology Today titled this as self-compassion is a key requirement for effective pain response. And we all heard this, fake it till you make it, right? That does not work, especially in the aftermath of trauma. All of us in the best of circumstances encounter pain, right? In life. And trying to mask reality, that fake it till you make it, is very counterproductive, and it certainly really does not work. Okay, that don't work. So when you try to mask your pain with other thoughts and feelings, it kind of make you feel like you're underperforming. So don't try to mask your pain. You got to get some licensed person to help you. Okay? And this one was a good one. And it talked about the roots of trauma. And the trauma roots lie in the most basic survival systems of our being, right? When we try to replace what we feel with other emotions without first validating the underlying emotions, the nervous system gets activated and begins to signal distress. Something is not right here, right? It's better to observe what we feel without judgment. And this creates an expansion. It helps the nervous system calm down. So I hope you guys are enjoying this, this message. So in times of high stress, when predictability and day-to-day comforts are not accessible, self-compassion remains the one thing that you can keep practicing when it's hard to maintain. Self-compassion. Let's do that more. Let's have compassion for ourselves, especially in times of high stress. And also remind yourself that you can only do the best that you can at any given moment. right? So in closing, and this is what I want you guys, this is the number one thing that I want you guys to take away. It is very important that you seek a licensed therapist. Not me. I'm not a licensed therapist. But in helping myself, I want to share the information to the world because I know this is a subject that people don't want to mention. I can be transparent. You know why? Because I know who I am. I know who I am. So me putting my information out, it does not change who I am. It does not change how I feel about myself. But my concern is I'm glad that I was able to, go through therapy and rewire my way of thinking. Therapy can do so much for you. It's going to help you become more of a loving person, right? Because we're going to deal with that trauma. And you can begin to understand exactly why you are the way that you are. And you can make those necessary modifications to improve your life, right? I would like for everybody to experience joy, especially the joy that I have now. Going to therapy, I don't even think I have the words to even say, like, I that's going to be a whole nother video, but I have so much joy. It's just great. And I just want people to, experience it, because a lot of times when you're in a situation and you've been in a situation and you've been living your life the way that you've been living it, you don't see no other way, and you can be educated. I'm educated. I mean, if I were to go back to school, then I would get a PhD, right? Because I have a master's, I have a bachelor's, I have an associate's. But this has nothing to do with your educational makeup, okay? This has nothing to do with that. In therapy, you'll be able to uncover some things through self-reflection and meditation, and definitely therapy, that's going to help you be the best person that you can possibly be. So I just hope, that you guys can take this information and use it to your benefit. Use it to your benefit. I talked about Psychology Today. Psychology Today is a great magazine. I've actually subscribed to the magazine. You can also go online and you can find you a virtual therapist. Like, you can find someone that you can talk to, online or video appointments. I normally see my therapist in the car because I'm always in the car. So I usually would have my appointments at home, but since I'm always on the go, it's usually in my car. I just want you guys to be the best that you can be. That's what I want. That's my goal. And I want to share my new self, right? So what I would like for you guys to do is obviously like, subscribe, and share this video. Definitely hit that notification button for future videos. Also, please comment below with any questions that you may have. Now, I may not get back to you the same day or the same minute, but I do from time to time check those videos, scratch that. I do from time to time check the comments, and I will definitely, respond to whatever question you have. So takeaways, I need you guys to get yourself in therapy. If you don't have a therapist, go on Psychology Today. If you're still struggling, send me a message. I may have some resources for you. But other than that, I am going to be posting videos 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I cannot give you guys a time, but you can definitely be sure to catch my videos on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And once I do that for a few weeks, I'll let you know like what time I'll actually post the videos. But right now I don't have a time. But thank you guys. You know, have a great rest of your day. And please like, subscribe, share, and comment, and hit that notification button. Thank you. Have a great day.